Hey, Super Scholars, it's Miss Fields here today with your reading lesson. I feel like it's been so long since I have got to come on here and give you all a lesson. So it's good to see you all again. Today is Thursday, May 14th, and we are going to be continuing talking about making connections, and we are going to specifically be talking today about sequencing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here so we can see it nice and big. So, our learning target for today is I am learning how the connection between sentences and paragraphs in a text contribute to the structure. I want you to think about that. Okay, sink in, let it sink in, and then we're going to read it again, and I want you to read it with me. I am learning how the connection between sentences and paragraphs in a text contribute to the structure. Very nice. So remember, connections, those are how things go together. So how one part and another part go together. Okay, so what's the connection? How are they related? Okay, think about if you have a brother or a sister, okay? You all have a connection, right? Because you all are in the same family. You might have the same mom or the same dad, okay? So you all have that connection. All right. Our success criteria for today. I know I'm successful when I can describe the sequencing text structure. Let that sink in. Get your mouth ready because you're going to read with me this time. I know I am successful when I can describe the sequencing text structure. Okay, very good. So if you can do that by the end of today's lesson, then you were successful. So I know that you all will be super scholars and that we will all be successful. Before we go ahead and jump into our lesson for today, I just want to go ahead and make sure that everybody knows what it means when I say the word sequencing. And I want you to say that sequencing, okay? It's kind of a long word, but when you sequence something, that means you put it in order, okay? So, like the alphabet has a certain sequence, okay? So it has a certain order, okay? A comes before B, okay? And D comes before E, okay? So it has a certain sequence or order that it goes in, okay? I know a lot of your classes, okay? I know my class does it, and I'm pretty sure all of the other your teachers do it as well, where you have a certain number, okay? And we always tell you all to line up in number order, okay? So you all have a certain sequence or order that you all line up in class, okay? So just remember, sequencing just means the correct order, okay? So we're going to have a little quick introduction. So if you come over here, notice how I have the word sequencing here, and it gives us another little quick definition. So I'm going to go ahead and read that. It says, information in the text is written in a specific order. Okay, so notice how it's using that order word again. Chronological. Can you all say that? Chronological. It is a big word, but it's a big word with a little meaning because chronological just means number, the correct number order. Okay, so we would not put 8 before 2. That's silly, right? No, we put 1 before 2. So that just means the correct number order. Okay, many times dates will be used in this structure. Okay, which is very true. Okay, dates would be used in this structure. So, for instance, last year, the year was 2019. This year, the year is 2020. But I would not put 2020 first on a number line, right? Because no, 2019 came before 2020. So I wouldn't put that first, right? I want to make sure that I had those years in the correct order. And here are some key words that tell you that the text structure, which just means how the text is set up, is a sequence text. So if it uses words like first, next, then, after, finally, before, during. Okay, those are all keywords that show you, oh, this text is sequencing something. And if you look over here, this is what the graphic organizer typically looks like when you are putting things in order. Okay, so it's just kind of like a little chain reaction here, which is what those little arrows are doing. So I have a little example over here, making a bowl of cereal to eat. So I have put it in correct order, okay, but we're just going to go through the steps of cereal to eat. And I want to make sure that you all agree with me that this is what you need to do in order to have a bowl of cereal and to eat it. So the first step here is, well, you've got to get a bowl and a spoon, okay, right? Because you can't eat cereal on a plate. Well, you can, but if you're going to have milk on there, I don't know if that would work too good on a plate. So you've got to make sure you have a bowl and you have a spoon. Okay. Next, you've got to have the cereal or get the cereal, right? So notice how this looks like it's a girl. Okay, so notice how the girl is getting her cereal. Next, you've got to get the milk. Okay, so she's grabbing the milk. Then does she pour the milk in her bowl before the cereal? Oh no, right? She's pouring her cereal first before she pours the milk. Now, could you do it the other way? You can, but that would be a little silly. So no, she's pouring her cereal in her bowl first, and then she is pouring the milk on top of her cereal. Okay, then looks like she puts the milk away because I don't see that in the picture anymore. So she makes sure she puts the milk away because you don't want the milk to go bad and spoil. Then this is her final product, and now she is able to eat the cereal. Okay, so this is a great example of sequencing. Okay, how to make a bowl of cereal. All right, so here is our model story for today. We are going to be talking about or reading a story, Dirt Bike Danger. Okay, and this is going to also, like I said, deal with our sequencing. So I'm going to read this story. It's very short, as you can see, just 2 little paragraphs, and I want you to just listen, okay, and follow, or you can read with me, okay, but most importantly, just listen, or you can read with me, okay. So, and I want you to think about, how is this story structured, okay, and what are some words in there that I noticed that are keywords, okay, that can help me get to that answer. So, on your mark, get set, go. The dirt bike racers are off. It looks like Todd Mary is in the lead, and there seems to be a pile up on the first corner. Todd seems to be doing awesome. The rest are fighting to get in second and third. These 250s are really flying over the track. 4 laps to go. Oh no, Todd has seemed to take a wall. The white flag means to get in a group and go slow. It looks like the ambulance is coming in. He may have a serious injury. Let's replay the tape. He comes around the corner, spins out of control, and hits the wall head on. I don't think he will be riding for a long time. The next day, the doctor said he has a fractured spine. Oh no. Okay, so we've got a guy here who was riding a dirt bike and happened to get hurt. Now, this particular text, I just noticed this text does not have very many keywords at all, like first, next, then, last, okay, because it's kind of just like set up a little bit differently. But I did notice that right here we've got the word next, okay, so that's a transition word. But this story just kind of kept flowing. But does that mean we're not able to put the story in order? No, right? We can still kind of put what things that happened in the story in order. It's kind of like retelling the story, just making sure that you're retelling it the way that we read it, right? So if you look over here, we've got 6 little things, okay, that happened in our story, and they want us to put it in the correct sequence, okay? And Miss Fields made a little mistake because we make mistakes, right? And this 4 is here, and it was supposed to not have been there yet, but it's there, so there is a little free space for you, okay? So the 4th thing that happens is the racers have 4 laps left, but we want to figure out the first thing that happened. So I'm going to read these that we have left, and then I want you to make a guess on what you think is the first thing that happened. So we have the riders enter the first corner, the race starts, the doctors speak to Todd about his injury, the riders take their marks, so they line up, or Todd crashes into the wall. What was the very first thing that happened? Okay, and remember, it's okay to look back in your text and see, what over here is the very first thing that happened based on what are my choices, okay? Ooh, okay. If you said the riders take their marks so they line up, you were correct, okay? Because they've got to line up, right? Before they can just take off and start racing. So that's the very first thing that happens, okay? So what happens next, I wonder? Oh, the race starts. Okay, yeah. So after they line up, then the race is able to start. What happens next? The riders enter the first corner. Okay, so they enter the first corner. So they've lined up, the race has started, and they have hit their first corner. Then the racers have 4 laps to go. So after they hit the first corner, they still have 4 laps to go. We find that out right here. Okay, then racers have 4 laps. Todd crashes into a wall. Oh no. If we look here, we can see, oh no, Todd has seemed to take a wall. So he has crashed into a wall. That is the 5th thing that happens. And the only thing left, but the very last thing that happens, and that makes sense, right, is the doctors speak to Todd about his injury. So after he crashes into the wall, the ambulance comes, right, and they check him out and things like that. And then the next day, he figures out that he has a fractured spine. Okay. So very short, very sweet, but see how we easily were able to put things that happened in the story in the correct sequence. All right. So, guys, this is your story that you're going to be reading today. Okay. Very similar. It is not super long. Okay. It's just 2 very short or medium sized, rather, paragraphs. And you are going to be reading about when lightning strikes. Okay. So remember, I want you to think of the same thing, okay? You know the type of text structure that this is going to be about sequencing, okay? But I want you to be able to prove how you know, okay? So make sure that you're looking to see if you see any keywords and things like that. So as always, I'm going to read this story with you, okay? Or you can read along, but I would prefer you just listen this first time. And then I want you to pause this video after that, and I want you to read this story again on your own so that you could have read the story 2 times, okay, before you do your assignment for today. Okay. The sky was gray and getting darker as black clouds passed overhead. I was in an open field when the rain suddenly began pouring down on me. A huge gust of wind came up and blew off my hat. Just then, I heard the thunder. Boom, boom, boom. I jumped. It sure sounded like a bomb had just blown. I tried to run back to my cabin, but the screeching wind was pushing me back. 1 second later, lightning struck a tree and started it on fire. I was really scared, but I couldn't move for some strange reason. The wind had stopped, but the rain was still going at full force. I finally dragged my tired body back to the small cabin. I opened the door and my mom screamed because she didn't know it was me. After I had cleaned up, she told me I had looked horrible. I laughed and put my freezing cold body in my nice little sleeping bag. Okay. So, there we go. Now, same thing. You all are just going to be putting the story in order with the things that have happened. You're going to have some multiple choice, and you're going to tell me what happened first, next, then, and finally. Okay. So, again, this is what I told you. If we were doing this in class, this is like what our graphic organizer would look like and what you would be writing on, because I told you it has like that little chain reaction. Those are what those arrows are. But you're going to see this exact same thing on Go Formative today when you take your quiz. It's just going to be a little different because you're not going to be like writing in there, but you're going to be typing your answers in each box with what happened first, next, then, and last, and finally. And then, like I said, you're going to have a multiple choice to choose from. So make sure you reference back to this story as you're doing it. And remember, it is also on the Go Formative, so you can scroll back up to the top and use it to reference before you click your final answer. All right, guys, so that's all we have for today. I want you all to go ahead, read the story again, go ahead and get your Go Formative pulled up and get ready to rock it out today. All right, have a great weekend, friends. Bye.